First of all, signs are so common in our everyday lives that we rarely think much about them. But modern signage, as we know it today, has been around for about 5,000 years. This exhibit on signs of the Cheshire County area started with a member of the Monadnock Historical Society's roundtable. Several years ago, one of our members said, you know, most historical societies have historic signs. Wouldn't it be interesting to put together an exhibit of those and see what they can teach us about the region's history? So that's how it started.
Yeah, my name's Peter Poanessa, and I run a small custom sign shop called Keene Signworx. We started in a small shop in Walpole. We worked there for about 5 years, and then I moved to an old industrial building on Court Street in Keene. And we were there for 18 years, and we built this building 12 years ago. Well, I'm very happy to see that the Historical Society is exhibiting this subject. It's a door to the past. People get to see what things used to look like. I'm sure people will be surprised to see what downtown Keene looked like 50 years ago and 100 years ago.
Well, it's important to preserve signs because if we lose these, then we lose that history of the local businesses, the local industry, the technological changes that impacted how signs were developed. We have electric signs, we have rotating signs in this exhibit, which obviously would not have been possible with the earlier signs we have from the 18th century and the early 19th century. So we learned about change over time from these signs.
My name's Walt Hautanen, DBA Walt Signs. I've been doing this now since 1960. Basically all my work is hand done. I do not use vinyl. I'm old school. Well, it's the way I learned, and like I say, I want to stay old school. I enjoy doing it. I'm 84 years old now, and I can still letter.
Signs evolve just like fashion and food and things like that. So what was popular 30 or 40 years ago changed 20 years ago, and it changed 10 years ago, and it keeps evolving. And some of that has to do with the way culture evolves. People see new things and they like it, or they don't like the old things, and sometimes the old things come back around. We've got a sign in the other room we've used 100-year-old techniques on.
People are getting interested, like you say, in the old days. I like the old stuff. Some of the letter styles were different. You know, people ask you, where'd you get that from? Well, it didn't come from a computer. It came out of somebody's head or whatever. Now, about 5 years ago, people didn't care. Now, I get people coming in, want to look around the shop. Can I have that sign? Can I, you know, because it comes from way back. But it's something that's a lost art. It's bringing people back to the old stuff, and that's what I want to stay with.
Individual products were advertised with signs, and as railroads and manufacturing firms began to increase, there were national and international markets, so people needed signs to advertise their products because they were being sold far from where they were originally produced. And also just signs themselves teach us a great deal about technological change.
And when I first started, we did everything with paintbrushes, pencils, no computers at all. Everything was hand-drawn. Patterns were hand-drawn, everything was painted. The carved signs were all done with a chisel. And over the years, that's all changed. I've computerized almost everything now. We still use a lot of hand skills, but an awful lot more computers.
Everybody's going into computer stuff now, and that has changed the whole concept of sign painting. But there's people out there that really do a good job with computers and making their signs.
Well, it's enabled us to do a lot more work. All the carved signs, the cutout panels, the letters we used to do all by hand are all now done on a large computer-driven machine called the CNC router. Yeah, everything's automated. We used to mail sketches to people. We now email them to people. Like the rest of the world, it's all digital. The fundamentals of making a good sign haven't really changed that much. It still requires a good design and a good plan.
A good design. A lot of my stuff, I do all freehand. I'll sketch a job, show the customer, and if they don't like it, I'll change it for them. Whereas the fellows that got computers, somebody can sit right with them and just change things around and can pick out a design right away.
I would like people to take away the fact that many of these signs are very artistic. Sign painters are very artistic. There's a sign industry, and these people were putting their best work into developing these signs. So you see a wide variety of artistic quality and diversity in these signs that we're displaying.
Probably the project I'm most proud of was bringing the wall dogs to Keene.
Wall dogs were sign painters in the 1800s. You're probably familiar with Coca-Cola signs and Pepsi signs and other large signs that were painted right on the sides of buildings. And the wall dogs were the people who painted those signs, painting on walls. The wall dogs group that is in existence today, really an informal group of artists and sign painters that travel about the country each year, and they pick a community where they're going to be doing murals on local history. So it's really an informal group simply taking the name of the original wall dog, because these are sign painters, sign designers, and artists doing this process.
My wife and I had painted with the wall dogs for a number of years at mural festivals across the country. And these things are just very positive and a lot of energy, and we were all excited from it. And on the way home, we started talking about doing it in Keene. Yeah, we got a small group of people, the Historical Society. Alan was one of the first people we talked to about it.
And in Keene, it was just a magical festival where these 200 artists and sign painters got together for 4 days and painted these 16 murals on Keene's historic buildings.
It's nice to see younger people looking at stuff like this and can get into it. You gotta have signs. People gotta have signs for their business. And as far as me, I can let it probably until I start shaking, then I gotta stop. But yeah, it'll never go away. People's always gotta have signs.